Watered down women with diluted dreams. Our hope for joy has been washed down the stream.
I'm Robin Hawkins, and you're listening to Watered Down Women.
Hoping to be free, found a new home in the cemetery.
During the winter season, our thoughts typically look forward to the warmth and renewal that springtime has to offer. The cold wind captures our breath as quickly as we release it, and its painful stinging of our lungs makes us long for sunshine, the awakening of hibernating animals, and the sight of small buds peeking through the barren ground. In today's fast-paced world, we never seem to live in the moment. Instead, our minds are always set on the future and anticipating what lies ahead. An imminent certainty that awaits each of us, yet is something we seldom allow ourselves to contemplate, is the inevitable and inescapable fact that each of us is going to die. There never really seems to be a convenient time or a practical reason to discuss our own demise, unless we are given a terminal diagnosis from our doctor. And even then, we want to forcefully grab onto the hope that they are wrong, or that some miraculous intervention will happen and we'll escape with our life. But we're actually just postponing the undeniable fact that everything and everyone will someday pass away. Death, defined by Merriam-Webster, is the irreversible cessation of all biological functions that sustain an organism. And it is absolutely unavoidable, yet it is one of the most avoided topics of conversation. Whether or not we pay close attention, things die around us every day. Plants die, batteries die, ideas die, and of course, people die. Although there is a common misbelief that if we ignore something, it'll simply go away. Well, that might be true in the case of a bruise or an annoying mosquito. But there's no likelihood that a hole in the roof of your house or a flat tire on your car will simply go away. Because those are the types of annoyances that must be dealt with. And death must be dealt with because it will just not go away. Are there things we can do to prolong our lives or cause them to be healthier? Some people follow strict exercise regimens or faithfully consume vitamins in an effort to keep their bodies in tip-top shape. But we've all heard stories about the health-conscious runner who is out for a run and dies on the sidewalk, or the professional athlete who unexpectedly collapses on the practice field. Do I cite these examples as a reason to not worry about our health? Certainly not. But I do share them to remind us that regardless of our age or circumstance, each of us will someday reach the end of our time in this life. Could it be that death is now so commonplace that we've become desensitized to its sting? Once saved only for the big screen or primetime television, shootings, stabbings, and various other types of murders are now everyday material in children's games and cartoon shows. This constant bombardment acts as an anesthesia that dulls our emotions to the point that the living lack the patience for the dying process and simply no longer have time for the dying. This is evidenced by the departure of wakes and mourning periods, and the increase of graveside services, or opting for no funeral at all. In Scripture, we learn that man is actually appointed to die. Ecclesiastes tells us that to everything there's a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die. In the book of Proverbs, we learn that the glory of young men is their strength, but the splendor of old men is their gray hair. But does society still honor the importance of its elders? Or do we tuck them away inside nursing homes, or condone the act of medicinally putting them out of their misery? Are the aged really the ones who are suffering? Or is it we who lack the stamina to allow them to live out their days with dignity? Sure, this is a rather macabre topic, but it is also a reality each of us will someday face. Few actually embrace death, but most can grow to accept it if it's someone else's pending mortality. Unfortunately, the reality is that the majority of us will pass from this life unexpectedly, leaving many things unsaid and undone. In past seasons of Watered Down Women, we've discussed the tragic deaths of several women who were killed during their youth or in their prime. From that, we can surmise that they lack the opportunity to express their true feelings with a loved one, or to give meaningful advice to their children. Instead, they took their wisdom, their hopes, and their aspirations to their graves. Understand that not all who die have lived wisely. Some leave with secrets. Some die holding on to regrets. Others pass away harboring bitterness. But all will die with something left unsaid. Perhaps it's a memory. Maybe it's a confession or a revelation. Some final thought that will go without saying. But does it have to? This podcast has not only served as a voice for silenced women, but a storyline from Season 2 was developed into a soon-to-be-released feature film that will honor the lives of 9 forgotten children. But what if we went further? What if we provided a platform for those whose time is knowingly limited? Is there wisdom to be gleaned from those who will soon become a memory? And is it merciful to provide them a stage for their final farewell? I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Watered down women with diluted dreams are